everyone, it's Mara Allard of Wind, Water, and Wisdom. And yesterday I put a post on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, didn't do a video on grief and how when we have unprocessed grief, we carry it into our second life. Like we carry it into our everyday, we carry it into our new relationships, we carry it into our jobs, we carry it into our homes, we carry all that energy of grief with us. In this chapter of life, we just keep dragging it forward if we don't process it. And I had a lot of interaction on those posts, which just means that resonated with people. Which is, yes, you can imagine this morning when I woke up, there was a lot spinning in my head, and I just wanted to get on a video and talk about it because I feel like there's something here I need to share. And if you haven't figured out by now, you're along for the journey with me because I just keep learning more or feeling more or thinking of things more, and I'm just sharing them in hopes that it helps people or resonates with you. So for the last couple of weeks, and I've had this discussion with another friend recently, she and I were both experiencing like bouts of sadness. And I'm not really a sad person that much, and unprocessed grief. And, you know, I was aware that I was crying more, I was sad more, I was just feeling down more. A lot of it, I think, had to do with not my personal sadness at all, but collective sadness, the status of where we are as countries, the wars, the natural disasters that are happening in not just where I live in the US, but happening everywhere. There's flooding going on all over the place. Poland, I mean, you know, the US, there's just so much of it. And I don't want to be naive to leave other countries out because I know that it is a global problem that we're all experiencing, this natural disasters. So there's grief around that, around all that is, the polarization of people, not speaking to each other or hatred for people. It feels very heavy, and I feel like that was the grief I was feeling because I'm sensitive to the energy around me. But what I was becoming aware of, this is what I wanted to talk about, is that I could shift from one emotion to another. And this is new, but I think normal. I think this is what we're supposed to be doing, but as a society, we were not raised. So I was able to be happy one moment. For example, this morning, I had extra time, so I was baking. I was baking some cornbread. I was making a nice coffee for myself. I was listening to some music, kind of dancing around the kitchen as I was cooking. And then 30 minutes later, I was sad. And then I wasn't really aware why I was sad. And I let a few tears roll down my face. And then that passed. And then I could have shifted into another emotion if I wanted to, anger or whatever. But I was aware that we can hold different emotions and we don't have to be in one state. That I think we fear our anger or our grief. Those are probably the strongest emotions we fear and we repress because we feel it will overtake us, that we will be sucked under into either of them. And you could be. I'm not dismissing that you could be. But that if you can stay in a flow of letting them come, the waves of emotion come, like, I'm happy. Okay, I'm sad. Okay, and let them come naturally. And this isn't natural to me. This is just something that I've been recently being able to do. And I think it's because I've been trying to find more stillness in my life. So when I get sad or I get angry or I feel overwhelmed, I try to take, as there's a famous astrologer, Pam Gregory, she calls them stillness breaks. I love that. Like just a moment of like, breathing and stilling myself and trying to figure out what am I feeling right now? What emotion am I feeling? And letting that emotion bubble up, come to me, feel it, and realize that it's leaving. It's not going to stick around for the most part. I know some people suffer from depression and I don't want to minimize this. This is not about that. This is about being trained in your family growing up or society to not let these emotions come to you, that we need to have a facade or a mask on and project one image outwardly at all times. This is about taking the mask off, letting you be who you really are and feeling those feelings, because when we do that, this ties into energy. How can we be in a state of elevated vibration and feeling good if we're stuffing a part of ourselves, a true part of us. There's also a video that I shared recently with a few friends on grief and how society, it dealt with two parts of grief, but I want to touch on how society deals with grief, which also shows us, at least this is US society. I can't speak for other cultures or other places since I live in the US, but if someone passes away, I think a lot of us feel like if they have a service, we attend the service. We might even go a step beyond, and we may send a card. We might deliver a casserole or bake some cookies. We might even check on that person for a month or so. But more often than not, we're done with it. We've checked it off of our list. We've done our duty for grief. That person's grief is forever. I mean, it changes and it moves, but that person is forever changed because of that event. If you lose a parent, child, a pet, a spouse, anything, friend, best friend, coworker that you adored, your life changes. Something changes in you. You do get through it. Time does change and heal, but a fundamental part of you will never be the same. And society wants it to all go back to normal, as if to say, she's good now, or he's good now. And in this video, this woman talks about how she tragically lost her husband, miscarried a baby, lost her husband, and lost her father, all within a very brief period of time. And how, fast forward when she met her new husband, I don't know if that was like a year or whatever, people were so happy, like, oh good, she's back to normal. And she talks about how she's never going to be back to normal. That person she lost is an integral part of her and will always go forward with her, but just in a different way, not in a physical way. So as we look at this with society, how do we treat people who are grieving? Are we just hoping they get over it? Or are we really having some conversations with people that ask how are they really doing? And showing up for those people when they're not having a good day or a good week or a good month. Okay, these are my ramblings on grief for the day. But when we deal with our emotions, when we let them come in as waves, of happiness, of joy, of just being okay, of anger, if we feel them just like as they arise, not as we stuff them, as they just bubble up, it's so much easier. And this has just become my awareness. So I wanted to share with you that if we can start to do this, we can start to heal ourselves. Have a great day.